Hello everyone! So this is the book haul that I mentioned in my update video. As usual with these, I'm just going to read the back of the book or the inside flap because I can hardly explain the synopsis after I've read the book, much less when I haven't even opened the book yet. The first book that I got is A Great and Terrible Beauty by Libba Bray. This is book number 1 in the Gemma Doyle trilogy, I believe. The back says, Gemma Doyle isn't like other girls. Girls with impeccable manners who speak when spoken to, who remember their station, and who will lie back and think of England when it's required of them. No, 16-year-old Gemma is an island unto herself, sent to the Spence Academy in London after tragedy strikes her family in India. Lonely, guilt-ridden, and prone to visions of the future that have an uncomfortable habit of coming true, Gemma finds a chilly reception. But she's not completely alone. She's been followed by a mysterious young man who warns her to close her mind against the visions, for it's at Spence that Gemma's power to attract the supernatural unfolds. There she becomes entangled with the school's most powerful girls and discovers her mother's connection to a shadowy group called the Order. It's there that her destiny waits, if only she can believe in it. I have actually read Libba's work before. I read Beauty Queens and I really loved it. And I actually wanted to read Going Bovine next, but I was at Half Price Books where I got these first 5 or 6 books from, and I saw this for only $4, so I was like, well, might as well get it since I was planning on reading it anyway. Next, we have Nick and Nora's Infinite Playlist by Rachel Cohn and David Levithan. The back says, Nick's just seen the girl who dumped him walk in, with a new guy. What else can he do but ask the strange girl next to him to be his new girlfriend for the next 5 minutes? Nora would do anything to avoid conversation with the not friend girl who dumped Nick, and to get over the evil ex whom Nora never really totally dumped. What else can she do but answer Nick's question by making out with him? With one electric, unexpected kiss, the 5-minute couple of Nick and Nora set off on an uncharted adventure called The First Date that will turn into an infinite night of falling in and out, and maybe in and maybe out of love. Theirs is a first date of music, laughter, heartache, confusion, passion, taxi driver wisdom, and a jacket named Salvatore. And of course, a killer soundtrack. As Nick and Nora wander through the middle of the night mystic maze of Manhattan, they share the kind of night you want to never end, where every minute counts and every moment flickers between love and disaster. Now, I've actually seen the movie, which came out forever ago, and I loved it. It's probably one of my favorite movies. I actually didn't realize that it was based off of a book until I think mid last year when I started actually reading. So of course I wanted to pick it up. And I've actually read a book by Rachel Cohn and David Levithan as well. I have read Dash and Lily's A Book of Dares, which I absolutely adored. I believe I gave that a 5 out of 5. I loved it. I'm pretty sure this book was only $2 or something, so I definitely picked it up. It's not a big book at all, so like Dash and Lily's Book of Dares, I'll probably be able to finish it in one sitting. Next, we have Catching Jordan by Miranda Kenneally, which is book number 1 in the 100 Oaks series. The back says, One of the boys. What girl doesn't want to be surrounded by gorgeous jocks day in and day out? Jordan Woods isn't just surrounded by hot guys, though. She leads them as the captain and quarterback of her high school football team. They all see her as one of the guys, and that's just fine, as long as she gets her athletic scholarship to a powerhouse university. But everything she's ever worked for is threatened when Ty Green moves to her school. Not only is he an amazing QB, but he's also amazingly hot. And for the first time, Jordan's feeling vulnerable. Can she keep her head in the game while her heart's on the line? Normally, I'm not into, books like this, meaning I'm not, a huge romance buff, but this just seems like such a cute high school story. I'm a sucker for high school stories. I don't know why, I just am. So I'm actually really excited to read this. It seems like it should be interesting. Next we have Incarceron by Catherine Fisher. This is book number 1 in the Incarceron duology. The back says, It gives life, it deals death, it watches all. Finn cannot remember his childhood. He cannot remember his life before Incarceron, a prison that has been sealed for centuries, where inmates live in cells, dilapidated cities, and unbounded wilderness. No one has ever escaped. But then he finds a crystal key in a girl named Claudia. Claudia's father is the warden of Incarceron, and Claudia is about to become a kind of prisoner herself, doomed to an arranged marriage. If she helps Finn in his escape, she will need his help in return. But they don't realize that there is more to Incarceron than meets the eye. Escape will take their greatest courage and cost far more than they know. because Incarceron is alive. This book sounds so good. Like, I can't even describe to you guys, like, why this book sounds so good. This just sounds like a crazy adventure. I really wish I could say more about this book. It just sounds so good. Next we have The Truth About Forever by Sarah Dessen. The back says, "A long hot summer. That's what Macy has to look forward to while her boyfriend Jason is away at brain camp. Days will be spent at a boring job in the library, evenings will be filled with vocabulary drills for the SATs, and spare time will be passed with her mother, the two of them sharing a silent grief at the traumatic loss of Macy's father. But sometimes unexpected things can happen. Things such as the catering job at Wish, with its fun-loving, chaotic crew, or her sister's project of renovating the neglected beach house, awakening long-buried memories. Things such as meeting Wes, a boy with a past, a taste for truth-telling, and an amazing artistic talent, the kind of boy who could turn any girl's world upside down. As Macy ventures out of her shell, she begins to wonder, is it really better to be safe than sorry?" I have actually been putting off reading Sarah Dessen books for a while, simply because I'm not really into the whole chick lit thing. Everyone always talks about Sarah Dessen all the time, so there has to be people like her for a reason, and I'm going to find out why people like her. Every video that I've seen where people talk about Sarah Dessen, they always say that the first book that you should pick up by Sarah Dessen is The Truth About Forever. So I picked up The Truth About Forever. I didn't realize how big it was. I thought it was just going to be like a short, quick read. Next, we have Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen. The back says, "When Elizabeth Bennet first meets eligible bachelor Fitzwilliam Darcy, she thinks him arrogant and conceited, while he struggles to remain indifferent to her good looks and lively mind. When she later discovers that Darcy has involved himself in the troubled relationship between his friend Bingley and her beloved sister Jane, she is determined to dislike him more than ever. In the sparkling comedy of manners that follows, Jane Austen shows the folly of judging by first impressions and superbly evokes the friendships, gossip and snobberies of provincial middle-class life." So as some of you may know, one of my reading goals for 2013 was to read more classics, simply because they're classics for a reason, so I should probably read them, and just because I want to expand my reading horizons outside of young adult. I figured what better book to start with than Pride and Prejudice, and it was there for like $4, so I figured I would go back and get it. It doesn't sound all that interesting to me, but everyone seems to love this book, so there's gotta be a reason people like it, so I'm going to figure it out. As most of you know, Penguin makes some of the most fantastic classic edition covers ever. And there is a set, I believe they're the Deluxe Couture editions of the book, and I will leave the link to it down below. And oh my sweet Lord Heavenly Jesus, I want them all. I'm probably at some point when I have the money just gonna buy all of them in one go. The artwork on the books is by Ruben Toledo. I honestly have no idea who that is, but if I ever met him, I would probably hug him because the covers for these books are amazing and I love them. And I want them all. All of those books I got from Half Price Books. These next two books I got from Barnes & Noble. First, I got Warm Bodies by Isaac Marion. The back says, "R is having a no-life crisis. He is a zombie. He has no memories, no identity, and no pulse, but he's a little different from his fellow dead. He may occasionally eat people, but he'd rather be riding abandoned airport escalators, listening to Sinatra in the cozy 747 he calls home, or collecting souvenirs from the ruins of civilization. And then he meets a girl. First as his captive, then his reluctant guest, Julie is a blast of living color in R's gray landscape, and something inside him begins to bloom. He doesn't want to eat this girl, although she looks delicious. He wants to protect her, but their unlikely bond will cause ripples they can't imagine, and their hopeless world won't change without a fight." Most of you probably know why I picked this up. Most of you probably picked it up for the same reason, because the movie is coming out on Friday. This book actually seems really interesting and seems really good, and like a lot of people really love this book. Something I've heard though is that the movie takes on a more humorous approach, I think is what I heard, than the actual book, which I don't really mind. I mean, it's not a big deal to me, to be completely honest. The next book is Ready Player One by Ernest Cline. The back says, in the year 2044, reality is an ugly place. The only time teenage Wade Watts really feels alive is when he's jacked into the virtual utopia known as the Oasis. Wade's devoted his life to studying the puzzles hidden within this world's digital confines, puzzles that are based on their creator's obsession with the pop culture of decades past and that promise massive power and fortune to whoever can unlock them. But when Wade stumbles upon the first clue, he finds himself beset by players willing to kill to take this ultimate prize. The race is on, and if Wade's going to survive, he'll have to win, and confront the real world he's always been so desperate to escape. Now, I actually wasn't going to pick this up for a while. Like, it's been on my TBR list, but I was like, it can wait. But then the Cray Club, which most of you probably know, and I will leave a link to their channel down below, said that this was going to be their book for the month of February. So I'm really excited to read this book. It sounds really good. The next two books that I got were from Kroger, which if you don't know what Kroger is, it's a grocery store and they sell books. A very, very, very limited amount of books, but books. The first book I got from there is The Fellowship of the Ring by J.R.R. Tolkien, which is the first book in the Lord of the Rings trilogy. The back says, one ring to rule them all, one ring to find them, one ring to bring them all and in the darkness bind them. In ancient times the rings of power were crafted by the elven smiths, and Sauron, the Dark Lord, forged the one ring, filling it with his own powers so that he could rule all others. But the one ring was taken from him, and though he sought it throughout Middle-earth, it remained lost to him. After many ages it fell into the hands of Bilbo Baggins, as told in The Hobbit. In a sleepy village in the Shire, young Frodo Baggins finds himself faced with an immense task, as his elderly cousin Bilbo entrusts the ring to his care. Frodo must leave his home and make a perilous journey across Middle-earth to the Cracks of Doom, there to destroy the ring and foil the Dark Lord in his evil purpose. I loved the movie. I actually watched all of them last year at some point, and I loved them. It was one of those books I had this problem with, like, I really want to read that book, but it can wait till later. But I saw this book in Kroger, and it was the cover that I wanted, because I loved these covers. And I had to get you guys. It was only like $8. I was like, I can't just leave it here. I had a duty as a reader to pick up this book. So I am extremely excited to have this in my collection. It is, I love it. It's beautiful. The second book that I got from Kroger is actually a book that my dad bought me because it was only $4. Hereafter by Tara Hudson, and this is book number 1 in the Hereafter duology. I'm pretty sure it's only a duology. The inside flap says, can there truly be love after death? Drifting in the dark waters of a mysterious river, the only thing Amelia knows for sure is that she's dead. With no recollection of her past life, or her actual death, she's trapped alone in a nightmarish existence. All of this changes when she tries to rescue a boy, Joshua, from drowning in her river. As a ghost, she can do nothing but will him to live. Yet, in an unforgettable moment of connection, she helps him survive. Amelia and Joshua grow ever closer as they begin to uncover the strange circumstances of her death and the secrets of the dark river that held her captive for so long. But even while they struggle to keep their bond hidden from the living world, a frightening spirit named Eli is doing everything in his power to destroy their newfound happiness and drag Amelia back into the ghost world forever. So, I'm going to be completely honest with you. This book wasn't even on my TBR list when I bought it, but it was only $4, and the cover is gorgeous, so I'm hoping that I will just fall in love with it. Alright, so that was my book haul. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you have read any of these books, let me know what you thought of them. I'd love to hear your guys' opinions on some of these books that I've bought. And I will see you guys in my next video. Goodbye. Ready, play...